old boy with a big mouth. I can blend right in with a loud ass crowd. Party people coming unwound. Gonna open up the throttle when the sun goes down. Ain't heard anything, so why not? Turn up the tunes and line up the shots to take to the woods when we leave the bar. Can't stop, gotta party like a redneck rock star.
Okay, so we're a little behind the 8 ball on this one. If you haven't heard this song, you haven't been paying attention. Trending all over the place, charting all over the place. I haven't heard it because I was deliberately not trying to hear it. I meant to drop this video some time ago, and I kept getting sidetracked with other stuff. I do know there was a big blowback from the stands. Apparently, Tom Mcdonald purchased a beat from Eminem for like $100,000, and then hyped it up, and all the stands drew a conclusion that it was going to be a diss track. And of course, he didn't correct them because why would he? If y'all are going to just assume stuff and be talking, well, I'm just going to let y'all keep assuming stuff and be talking. And then he dropped it, and from what I've read, it was apparently more of like a tribute track to Eminem. Yet the stands are still angry. I don't understand how you spend $100,000 to pay tribute to somebody and give them their props, and yet their fans are still angry at you. But I also haven't heard the song. Maybe there's something in here that, I don't know about. So, like I said, day late and a dollar short, but we're going to drop it anyway. So, let's see what we got.
Dear Slim, I thought you might have heard of me, maybe. Cause lately, everywhere I turn, someone's comparing us crazy. I never would have thought when I was bumping Biggie and Pac that I would buy bleach in a box and become the product of shade.
Is that... I've seen that set before. And with the Dear Slim title. Is that the set that they shot the stand video in? Somebody who knows, drop in the comments, let me know what's going on, but it looks like the stand set.
But I'm here now. Hi, my name is Tom Mcdonald. People call me controversial. I'm the one that counterculture follows. Every song I drop's a problem. I offend an awful lot with topics commenting on race and politics. I'm pretty awesome. Dear Slim, I know we're very different politically. Seems like some of your biggest fans are the victims I'm triggering. They're convinced I don't like it.
Yo, the thing I can say, so politically, on their actual political stances, Eminem and Tom McDonald differ greatly. But in their willingness and ability to say just about anything they want, consequences be damned, and throw it out there, and the shock value that gets and the way that gets people talking, that's classic Eminem. Like, you go back to late 90s, early 2000s, that was his thing. And Tom McDonald's been doing that for a minute now. But he basically just he said he's triggering all the stands. He said y'all need a safe place. Go cry somewhere.
I was picked on as a kid and they don't know what Slim did for me. But I'm here now and I fight the system just like you. Was addicted to pills and liquor and quit them just like you. People claim that you hate me, but Marshall, that can't be right, dude. You'd have to hate yourself as well, cause Marshall, I'm you. Marshall.
Alright. I can see where that would have got the stands triggered. Back to my earlier comment about, they both have similarities in the say what you want, do what you want, I don't care, and I'm not worried about the blowback. Definite similarities, definite parallels. And I will put that Tom McDonald is an incredibly talented rapper. But when you think, Eminem, like, everybody wants to compare all these white rappers to Eminem, which is it's junk. It's a skewed statistic. First off, it's racist as hell. Do you compare every other culture rapper to every other culture that they came from? No. That would be like comparing Kanye to Tupac. And then it's taken to a whole nother level because on just about everyone's list, except for Snoop Dogg's, Eminem has to be on the top 10. I mean, he's one of the GOATs. So when somebody says I'm you, if the stands took that as comparing on a talent level, I can see where the stands would have been offended by that. But on a stance and on a willingness and on a what they do and what they say level, I kind of see it.
Back when you became Eminem, you changed the world with
Is that the car too? Did he just buy the whole stand set? Like, I know he bought the beat. I didn't know that. Surely they wouldn't have still had all that stuff to sell him, even if he wanted to buy it. Like, he must have like hand put all this together. This is insane.
well, now I'm just like you. I don't give a what, saying what I want with my fingers up. Everybody triggered and they think I suck, but I don't give a what, nah, 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 nah. I don't give a what, nah.
Nah, 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 nah. Even that's kind of like a nod to Eminem. Like, if you remember back in the day, he was bad for those random sound effects. And so here's my dilemma. If I move y'all to this side, I can look into the camera. If I move y'all to the other side, it looks like I'm completely ignoring y'all, but it cuts off part of the video on this side. So I guess we're just going to keep moving it back and forth. I'm not sure.
Dear Slim, I thought that maybe because you paved the way for me, you might relate to weight that Caucasian rappers are carrying. They're constantly comparing us to you, it's embarrassing. Never gaining their approval, it's just hate we're inheriting. But I'm here now.
See, and I'm glad he touched on that, is what I said earlier. Every white rapper that comes out, they always want to compare him to Eminem. And it's not fair because they don't get judged on their own talent. They can't ever be accredited with their own accolades. It's always going to be, well, Eminem did this and Eminem did that. And it is true, Eminem paved the way for sure, no doubt. But these rappers that are emerging now, I mean, they have their own talent levels, their own skill sets, their own fan bases. And I mean, in Tom McDonald's case, he's gotten a label. He's completely independent. He built this on his own. So I feel to make the comparison to Eminem, I'm not an MGK fan, and I totally believe that in that whole MGK Eminem beef, Eminem just bodied him. But the one line that I did, it makes you stop and think, is MGK says, we're not the same. I did all this without Dre producing me. And I mean, Eminem's always had Dr. Dre and always had that label support and always had that machine pumping him out. It takes nothing away from his talent level by any means. But I mean, Tom McDonald did this on his own.
Go ahead and hate it, don't hurt. Call me culture vulture, garbage, those are ignorant words. I kill a vulture, cook the poultry in a pan.
And I completely disagree with the culture vulture thing. So, hip hop originated primarily with the African Americans. That's true. But art is art. And everyone should be free to express themselves however they're most comfortable. I mean, rock and roll is the same way. Was Elvis Presley a culture vulture? I don't see it, y'all. Like, I mean, the very fact that Tom McDonald was a big enough fan of hip hop to want to move his and rap to want to move his life in that direction, that's paying homage to a culture, not ripping it off. It's paying homage to an art form.
See, Marshall, I'm just like you. I'm flipping the bird. Dear Slim, I just want to give you your flowers. I spent hours memorizing all of your songs in 2000. You were the reason I screamed it. All of my teachers, a teen, I needed your CD on repeat and shady space on my t-shirt. But I'm here now. Call me controversial just like you. We're both white, both rap, both of our eyes blue. Screw any guy who tries to say you changed and don't like you. Because in my mind, it's still 99. And I'm you. Marshall.
I said we both white, we both rap, and both of our eyes blue. We the same. And even to people talking about Eminem has changed. Of course he's changed. You're comparing, a grown man to more or less a kid. His life views have changed. His experiences have changed. You take that with you. You take that knowledge and that experience. And I would make the argument that, though definitely not as controversial, some of his more recent stuff is a lot deeper, and if you really listen to it, should be taken much more meaningfully.
Remember back when you became Eminem, you changed the world with a pen. Well, now I'm just like you. I don't give a what saying.
Change the world with a pen. If anybody nowadays could change the world with a pen, I believe it probably would be Tom McDonald, and I hope it's Tom McDonald. For as controversial, quote unquote, as he's supposed to be, if you really listen to the lyrics and the message behind them, for the most part, he's a stand-up guy, and his views are more or less should be if they were the views of the bulk of the world would be a better place. Now, I'm not saying, like he's a known Trump supporter. I'm not talking necessarily about his views that specifically, but about the media trying to divide us, and half of the things that you're being fed aren't reality, or they're drastically exasperated reality because everyone has an agenda they're serving. I agree.
What I want with my fingers up, everybody triggered and they think I suck, but I don't give a what.
Everybody triggered and their fingers up.
Whether you love me or hate me or think I'm crazy, dropped $100,000 to get a beat from Shady. Really hope when I bought it he wasn't angry, but I really had to tell him that he changed me. The truth of the matter is, without you Marshall Mathers up.
Even if he was angry, once this song dropped, I bet you he wasn't anymore. I'd really be interested, and I know they've not necessarily had a direct beef, but at least the stands have perceived their differences over the years. But I'd really be interested in what Shady has to say about this track.
Would've committed suicide before I was a rapper. You showed me that I could do it. I didn't need to be blacker. I know it's stupid, but I just had to do my best to say thank you. Marshall, remember back when you became Eminem, you changed the world with a pen. Well, now I'm just like you. I don't give a what, saying what I want with my fingers up. Everybody triggered and they think I suck, but I don't give a what.
And this goes for whatever it is you do in life. If everyone's triggered and hating on you, that probably means you're doing a good job. For the most part, even if you're doing a really bad job, not that many people would be triggered. Now, the people that are in your immediate sphere and have to make up the slack, yes, they're going to talk crap because they have to work harder now. But if people outside your general vicinity are talking about you, it means you're doing something right.
Marshall, remember back when you became Eminem, you changed the world with a pen. Well, now I'm just like you. I don't give a what, saying what I want with my fingers up. Everybody triggered and they think I suck, but I don't give a what. I don't give a what.
Man, I probably missed some stuff. Some stuff probably got by me because in true Tom McDonald fashion, he hit you with a lot of stuff right there, and he probably hit me with even more stuff than I realized. But for him and Nova to do what they've done, build what they've built, and do it all completely independent, in and of itself speaks for his talent. Like everyone's all Tom McDonald sucks. Tom McDonald's garbage. Tom McDonald's this. Tom McDonald just dropped $100,000 on a track. You know how many labeled artists couldn't afford to do that? And he dropped $100,000 on a track to pay homage to his influence, to his idol, to the person that you heard him. Like when he was a kid, he would have committed suicide before he ever became a rapper if it hadn't been for Eminem. And anytime somebody hits you with that kind of just knowledge and that kind of, wow, I made a difference in somebody's life, you should, I mean, that can't be construed anything but heartfelt. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. If for some reason you are struggling with a mental issue or a mental health issue, please reach out for help. Suicide is never the answer. As alone as you may feel or you may think you are, I promise you, somebody in this world cares what happens to you. Probably a bunch of somebodies. And everybody has a purpose. You don't know. I mean, you might be the one that comes up with the cure for cancer. But if you take yourself out, I mean, you set humanity up, set humanity back that much further. So with that said, if you're struggling or if you know somebody that's struggling, reach out and try to make a difference this month. I hope y'all liked the video. Hope I didn't miss too much of it, or too much of it didn't get by me. Until later, y'all stay tuned. Comment, like, subscribe, and be safe.
Answer to no one.